Hey, what's going on, guys? Tactical Civilian here, also known as Ben, and in today's video we got something that's pretty sad. I'm sure as you all have heard of the Uvalde, Texas school shooting at Robb Elementary, where 19 kids between the ages of 9 and 10 years old, their lives were taken by a complete scumbag, as well as 2 teachers who lost their lives trying to defend the children. I just want to talk about it, kind of see what we know, what are facts, what's kind of mischief, and then I want to talk about the solutions, because I'm not just going to be one of those people that post about it on social media complaining about blaming the gun. So let's hop into the video. Alright, so starting off, I just want to say, before we get into anything, before any discussion, I feel deeply remorse for the families, the children, the teachers who are affected by this whole entire shooting. For me, and I speak on behalf of the whole 2A community, we absolutely hate seeing things like this happen. People who are big into gun rights and gun activists, the last thing that they want to see is a mass shooting of any kind at all. For me personally, when I see stories like this, the first thing I think is the person who did this, one, is a terrorist of the United States of America, because I have said in my podcast, and I'm pretty sure I've said in other videos, if you are an American citizen and you go out causing harm, mass harm, whether you're using a gun, a knife, rocks, whatever it may be, you are now a terrorist in my eyes. Because an American citizen does not go out with the intent of harming innocent other American citizens. Number 2, mental illness. We have a problem of mental illness in this country. We do not have a gun problem. We have a mental illness problem. I firmly believe that. It can be hard to listen to the news and the media telling you how it's a gun problem, it's a gun problem, it's a gun problem. It's just not the case, because there's a bunch of deaths that happen with cars. There's a bunch of deaths that happen in dangerous work fields, such as like if you're a miner, or if you're someone that works on electrical poles when you're 100, 200 feet up in the air. We have people that die doing their things in everyday life. The anomaly is that the people that are going out causing mass shootings, they are mentally ill. A person who can have the even thought of taking a firearm into a public place, whether it be a workplace, a school, a grocery store, it doesn't matter, and they open fire to just cause the most harm, well, that person is hurting and that person is mentally ill. I would just like to say that for all of the people that are affected by this, I am very, very sorry. And this is not what the 2A group stands for. Because of course, as soon as this happens, we're seeing all types of posts and other news outlets saying that now we need to ban guns. We have the President of the United States, the person who took an oath to uphold the Constitution, is now saying there needs to be a ban on assault weapons. Now that really grinds my gears, because they keep using the term assault weapons or assault rifle as a fear-monger tactic to scare you. Because I have said it time and time again, and I will say it again. This right here is an AR-15 rifle. It is chambered in .223 or .556 rounds. Most of these rifles come stock with what the president wants to call a high-capacity magazine. It's a 30-round magazine, meaning you have 30 rounds before you have to reload. Misconception on these rifles is a lot of people think that because it looks like a military weapon that it shoots fully automatic. That is a complete misconception. That is completely wrong. It only shoots semi-automatic, meaning I have to pull the trigger once, a round will go, I have to let go, pull it again, and then another round goes. I can't just hold the trigger down and have it full auto. We're not allowed to have those weapons. We're only allowed semi-automatic, bolt action, those type of things. The other thing is why I say that the term assault rifle is a fearmonger tactic is because this is an AR-15, but AR does not stand for assault rifle. It stands for Armalite rifle. Now I only say that because I see a lot of attack going for the AR-15 when if we look at the statistics and the stats given to us by the FBI of mass shootings over the past years, 56% of mass shootings are taken with a handgun only. Handgun. 13% are used with rifles. Rifle is a generic term and it does not specify how many are AR-15s, how many are lever action, how many are bolt action. And then 12% of those mass shootings are a mixture between of handguns and rifles. Now there are some other statistics going on about explosives being homemade explosives. You can't just buy grenades or whatever. The other one being shotguns and those type of things. So the reason why it pisses me off that we're talking about AR-15 bans and everyone's getting all up in gear about how we need to ban AR-15s, well, no one's looking at the obvious choice. And if we're going to be talking about banning anything, we should be talking about banning pistols. Obviously, I am not for that. I do not support that. I think that is a stupid idea because it is not the tool, because a firearm is nothing more than a tool. We should not be blaming the tool. We need to blame the person. I'm not even going to tell you the guy's name. I'm not even going to show a picture. I'm not even going to tell you anything about this horrible, horrible man. Now, yes, he did acquire the gun legally. He acquired both guns legally. He used 2 AR-15s. He acquired them legally a week ago before the shooting took place, on right after his 18th birthday. The dude was mentally ill. He shot his grandmother in the face, got in his truck, drove to Robb Elementary a couple blocks away, and decided to just kill little kids. I don't have an answer on why. I don't have any type of clue as to what would make an individual want to do something like this. But we should not be blaming the tool. We need to be blaming the individual. Another thing that we need to look at, and another big key point, is we need to stop making the shooters the main person of the story. We need to stop blasting their face everywhere. We need to stop saying their names. And we need to only focus when something of this tragedy happens. We need to be talking about the families. We need to be talking about the people who lost their lives only. Because when someone goes out and commits a mass crime, trying to inflict the most damage possible, well, by you putting their picture all over the news, by you saying their name on the news over and over and over again for weeks on end until there's a news story that you guys want to talk about, they win. Because as sick as it sounds, they're looking for their 15 minutes of fame. They're mentally ill and they want to cause harm to people, and so they want their 15 minutes of fame. And so guess what? When we as news people keep putting their faces and their name plastered on every headline, newspaper, whatever, that only gets the next mentally ill person to go, maybe I can beat that. Maybe I can do better, in the sense of causing the most harm. So let's talk about a solution, because obviously in that Robb Elementary School shooting, over half a dozen 911 calls were made saying that we need help. You need to come to the school, we need help. That on-campus police officer just wasn't there that day. Also, when police arrived on scene, it took over an hour for them to go inside the building. That is ridiculous. The shooter had 7 30-round mags on his person, and then at the back door, which how he got in, I don't know how he got in the school in the first place, but in the back door where he had entered, there was a backpack full of more ammunition. Why did it take over an hour for the police to get inside the building? When after Columbine, one of the worst school shootings in our history, that's when law enforcement started taking a complete change of direction of how they were going to handle these type of situations, and that they need to act fast, and that if it changed the whole laws and whatever about how if you respond to an active shooting, especially at a school, if you get there, you need to just get inside the building. Because the only thing I think when I see that it took over an hour once they arrived on scene to then go into the building, they're thinking about their lives and how to protect themselves over protecting the innocent children who were locked inside of a school. I don't blame anyone for this situation other than the shooter himself. That's who we need to look at. That's who we need to blame. But I put a little bit of liability and responsibility on some of the lives taken on the police. That is ridiculous that it took you over a fucking hour to get inside that school. The first couple cops that showed up to that school, they should have hopped out and charged straight into gunfire, because under the Texas active shooter regimen protocol, it says you put innocent life over your own. It also states that in an active shooter situation, you are to charge and confront the attacker as quick as possible. So my question is why didn't the cops follow their own protocol? We should look into that, because as sick as it sounds, we need to learn from this and we need to be better. So now, let's talk about solutions. What are we going to do? Because just banning guns, it's not going to happen, and it won't go very well. It's not a logical thinking process. Since 1776, we've had the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. We also have the First Amendment, the freedom of free speech. And the second protects the first. That's just the way it goes, because the day they take away our guns is the day that we lose our free speech. It's the day that we lose all of our rights, because the government will not take excessive power knowing that a lot of American citizens own a firearm. If we look at history, throughout all the other countries that have dictatorships, communism, they don't have guns, they don't have means to protect themselves, and so guess what? They get ran on by a government telling them what to do, how to live their lives, what they're able to do, and what they're not able to do. I understand that when a tragedy like this happens, it's easy to say, okay, that's it, we need to ban the guns. But we cannot be blaming the tool. We need to blame the individuals, and we need to make people who commit mass shootings completely outcast them, and we need to start treating them how they are. They're terrorists, they're mentally ill, they are pieces of shit people that don't deserve to live on this earth, let alone in our amazing country of the United States of America. Now, I've talked about it on my podcast. To me, when I see a tragedy happen and then a bunch of people on social media are posting a bunch of shit on their story or posts or whatever about how terrible this is, and they're angry and all this other stuff, just because you post one day after a tragedy happens, you're no better than the politicians who haven't done anything to help protect our children. Because I've been talking about this situation with my 2A friends about what should we do, what is a good liable option, just spitballing ideas. I've had a podcast, I just said earlier, I talked all about this on what we should do. And from that time to now, my view has changed a little bit. But what are the solutions? One, we need to put a cop, school police, whatever, we need to put one cop, at least one, in every single school in America. Kindergarten, elementary schools, I know those are kind of the same, middle schools, high schools, preschools, there needs to be a cop in every single school, at least one. Because if all these people know that there's at least a cop on duty at every school in America, I guarantee you we see the numbers go down. Guarantee you. Because the amount of mass shootings that have been taking place in gun-free zones, it's ridiculous. These people are mentally ill, they are criminals. They don't care that if there's a red circle with a line through it over a handgun that says gun-free zone. They're breaking the fucking law. They don't care. Now, why should we have a cop in every single school in America? Well, one, it's an immediate first responder if anything happens, and they can charge right toward the gunfire or whatever the threat is without having to wait 5 to 10, 15 minutes for cops to get there and then sit outside twiddling their fucking thumbs. Also, it'll be a great way for kids from a super young age to start interacting with law enforcement. It'll be a great way for a cop to then know that they have the responsibility with these young children and then going into the high school, middle school level, that it's your responsibility to see and show these kids what it's like to have a relationship with and around a cop. Showing them that we are here to protect you. Showing them that we are here to help you, be a friend, be a mentor. But if you slip up and you start doing some stuff that you're not supposed to do, I will be your worst nightmare. Also, a great benefit is it will make hundreds and hundreds of jobs across America if we do this. Another thing is it's time that we start arming our teachers. Politicians, celebrities, athletes, they get escorted around all the time by private security, police escorts, and people that have guns. But yet we're not allowing our children who are defenseless not be protected by someone who is well trained and has a firearm. It's time we start letting our teachers have firearms at school. Now, I'm not just saying any old teacher. If you have a veteran, a military veteran that is now working at your school, they should be able to carry a firearm. If you have an ex-cop who is now working in the school district at a local high school, they should be able to carry a gun. Also, we should be looking into other teachers. If we don't have those two great scenarios, then we should be looking at the people who, on their off time, they go shooting on the weekends, they go hunting, they know firearm safety, and then they take classes to then become qualified to carry a handgun at school. Because here's the thing, if a shooter is thinking of a way to cause the most harm, and they know that there's at least one police officer at every single school, the response time for the cops is going to be 10 to 15 minutes on a good day. And we now change our protocol that when an officer shows up to an active shooter at a school, their first job is to not think about themselves or plan this whole strategic tactical operation. They need to go in the damn school and confront the attacker as quick as possible. That's what I think is the best way to help start seeing some change without obstructing and completely taking away mine and your constitutional rights of the Second Amendment. The easy thing to say is ban gun, but as I assure you that is not what we need to do. We also need to stop looking at it from the perspective of, yeah, well, too many people have messed up and we need to just get rid of them. No, mental health is the biggest problem in this country. We need to start focusing on that. We need to start looking for signs of if we think someone's going to become an active shooter threat, like the kid who posted on Facebook that he was going to kill his grandmother, that he was going to shoot his grandmother in the face, and that then he was going to go shoot an elementary school. We need to look at things like that, and we need to have well-trained police staff to act fast. Now, I know that this might not be the best and absolute definite way to go, but I think it's better than just obstructing our constitutional rights. Alright, so I think that's all I got for you guys today. I don't want to make videos like this. I don't want to talk about things like this because it really makes me upset and it really boils my blood to see this. But just know that when stuff like this happens, this is not a representative of the Second Amendment community. They are not part of our community, and they are scumbags, they are terrorists, they are in a complete other category of people. Me as a 2A activist and a 2A pro person, I don't associate with people like that. I don't have any tolerance, nothing for people that have nothing but the desire to cause mass harm to innocent, normal people who are just trying to live their life. To the 19 children and the 2 teachers who lost their lives, I am super, super sorry that that piece of shit felt he had the right to take your life. I am very sorry, and I am praying for you, and I'm thinking about each and every one of you, and I'm very sorry that that happened. To all the family and friends out there that are dealing with this now, I am sorry, and my condolences are sent your way. I'm sorry that this individual felt that it was okay to do this. I don't know what we need to do, but I hope that maybe the couple of things that I mentioned in the video, maybe we can look into doing rather than taking away our Second Amendment right. It's the last weekend of May, so it's Memorial Day weekend. It's not just a long weekend. If you're the person that just says it's a 3-day weekend, long weekend, woohoo, fuck you. This weekend is to take a day to remember every military, EMT, cop that have put their lives on the line to protect you and me. So today's Sunday, tomorrow is Monday, Memorial Day. Just take a second and think about all the people who have died to protect you. People that you don't know, people that you will never meet, flew across seas to fight for you. So yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys. This kind of topic makes me upset, and I don't like talking about it, but we have to do hard things sometimes in life. So I guess like the video and subscribe. I don't know. I'm out.